The Chargers land the centerpiece of their rebuilding project by hiring Jim Harbaugh as the next head coach, landing the man who led the University of Michigan to the national championship earlier this month. Hi, I'm James the Faithful Angelino Sports with a special report. Jim Harbaugh returns to the NFL after 9 seasons. And if you enjoy talking Chargers football, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We talk Chargers football almost every day here. Financial terms of the deal have yet to be disclosed. It is a 5-year contract. ESPN's Adam Schefter first reported the move. The courtship of a coach who led the San Francisco 49ers to a Super Bowl, made Colin Kaepernick a household name, and created intelligent smashmouth football over at Stanford comes in time to cleanse the Chargers of the Brandon Staley era. Staley was ousted just shy of 3 seasons as the Chargers head coach. He had a .500 record, 24-24, despite having what was considered to be one of the best starting lineups in football, including an elite young quarterback in Justin Herbert. Staley only managed 1 playoff berth, which ended with profound embarrassment in Jacksonville. The Staley era ended with a 63-21 humiliation to rival Las Vegas, but the frustration with the Chargers goes further than Brandon Staley. The franchise had only reached the playoffs 3 times since 2010. The Bolts have only won 2 playoff games in that time frame. And this obviously extends into the 8 years since the Chargers left San Diego and moved to Los Angeles. If you recall, they wanted to take on the Rams, a marketing profile called Fight for LA. And the Rams, even with having a roster that many thought were the Chargers inferior, the Rams still had the town way more so than the Chargers. Now, it is extremely difficult to dispute the following statement. Jim Harbaugh has literally won everywhere he's coached. He parlayed success at a previously moribund University of San Diego program into a gig at Stanford. Then after making Stanford nationally relevant in less than 3 seasons, he guided San Francisco to 3 NFC conference championship games. Not to mention, when he goes back to college, he goes to Michigan, and we mentioned the national title with the Wolverines, but 3 Big Ten titles, and consistently defeated rival Ohio State. Harbaugh was also named NFL Coach of the Year back in 2011. Now, the hiring does come with some controversy. Harbaugh's hard-driving style rubbed a lot of people the wrong way over in San Francisco, especially in the front office. Also, the Michigan football program is under multiple NCAA investigations. Matter of fact, it was reported that in his attempt to negotiate not just with the Chargers, but with Michigan, Harbaugh insisted on a no firing clause should he return to the Wolverines. And then there's another report that claimed that Michigan granted such a clause. But apparently the Chargers' offer was still superior. Now, this is not too much of a surprise, considering that the Spanos family, which owns the Chargers, promised to end decades of paying their head coaches chump change. Dean Spanos referred to the hunt for a new coach and GM as a reimagining of the entire organization. The Chargers interviewed 15 people for the head coaching job. That includes Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris. But it was obvious even before the interview process opened that Harbaugh was their guy all along. In addition to Harbaugh's coaching resume, he's also a former Chargers quarterback. Played for them when they were in San Diego. The idea being that perhaps he could coax more out of Herbert than Herbert's 2 prior NFL head coaches, both of whom were former NFL defensive coordinators. Having said all that, there's plenty of work yet to be done with the Bolts, who still do not have a general manager after firing Tom Telesco in the wake of the previously mentioned loss to the Raiders. The Chargers are estimated to be at a minimum, $27.5 million over the salary cap. It is likely way more. It could be at least $10 million more. The Chargers have already interviewed at least 8 candidates for the GM job. We do not know if Harbaugh will have input on who he wants to be as the GM. What does it mean for the roster? Well, there are Charger players, stalwarts even, who could get cut. And that has nothing to do with their talent level or their desire to play for the Chargers. This includes defensive ends Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, not to mention wide receivers Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, because they have big contracts. They might just be unfortunate casualties simply because of the cap. Harbaugh, by the way, is the first Chargers coach with previous NFL head coaching experience since Norv Turner. So what happens under Harbaugh? Well, we can tell you this much. When he took over the 49ers, he told his players he would, quote, burn the grass, get rid of the snakes, unquote. In other words, the players better brace themselves. Reporters who cover the Chargers said that the players consistently lacked accountability under Brandon Staley. And again, as previously discussed, the salary cap woes alone suggest that the Chargers roster could look vastly different simply because you can't afford to fit them all under the cap unless top players are willing to accept pay cuts. But at this time, there is joy across the Chargers fandom because the centerpiece of the rebuild is in the fold. They have hired Jim Harbaugh from the University of Michigan. Now, if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelinos. If you want to let me know what you think of the hiring, by all means, comment. And again, subscribe to the channel because we talk Chargers football every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Faithful Angelinos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.